Ghost, and then great play, and as you said, he just a lot of good value there with just smashing all those probes without the observer to really help them out. So I like this early play. It's certainly not the most the normal start you'd see, because there's a lot of aggression going in. It's very interesting to watch because it's just so exciting. But any JT, have you noticed anything you'd like to point out?
Well, at the moment, it's kind of interesting. I'm wondering why Az is holding back. He has a pretty big supply advantage. He's sort of 62 over Filthy's 48 at the moment. So he does have a much bigger army, especially considering that a lot of Filthy's army is made up with Marines, and they're really not that good against gateway units of the Protoss. So Filthy kind of lucky that Az hasn't tried to put more pressure on him at the moment.
Scan going off there for Filthy, which is nicely timed because you'll see this robotics facility going to work there. I'm not sure if his scan picked up the robotics bay though. Just having a look here. No, he hasn't seen the robotics bay, so he may think it's Immortals coming out. Meanwhile, Az has got this Colossi coming out, so this might catch Filthy unawares, and there's this huge build-up of initial gateway units that was coming, waiting for this Colossi to come online, and the Colossi is going to be able to walk up these cliffs very nicely to go to work on this bunker. Forward bunkers coming out for Filthy, who's trying to take his expansion here, but we are seeing this timing attack coming across here, and now this Stalker's going to work. The bunker's not finished. This could be terrible news for Filthy. These bunkers going and getting fried by this timing attack. Nice positioning of the force field there to prevent any reinforcements, and the bunkers go down. So it's going to come a case of whether or not Az is going to keep the aggression up. He has a lot of gateway units, bunker filling up, and this Marine Marauder ball with 2 medevacs able to really try and mess the kills up here. But if they get this supply depot down, the Zealots are going to be able to get in, and he's going to be able to cut the army in half with some nice force field work. These SCVs desperately trying to repair. The Colossi racking up one more kill. Looks like Az may be retreating. I don't know if I agree with that. I think if he brought the Colossi up and committed his units, he might have been able to bust in here, because Filthy, despite having Marine Marauders and Medevacs, he really didn't have that much to deal with it. Now this proxy pylon's coming into play, more units, more Zealots warping in to reinforce. This Viking desperately trying to get the Colossi, but there's a lot of anti-air here, a lot of Stalkers. It's going to come down to whether or not this Viking can get that Colossi offline. 2 Vikings now trying to get a nice angle on this Colossi, but the Stalker's defending so well. It's going to be touch and go here for Filthy. He's really against it here. He needs to get some kind of mech in play to try and defend this, because these Colossi just have such good range. Meanwhile, Az warping in more units, but the concussive shells there taking their positioning out really nicely. Filthy could even think about dropping 1 or 2 Marines over here to take out this proxy pylon. But we are seeing extended thermal lance coming in while these Vikings try to go to work on the Stalker. So if Az can get that extended thermal lance online, it's going to be a huge difference maker. It's at half right now, and he has Chrono Boost energy, so we may see this upgrade Chrono Boosted to try and finish it off. A second Colossi coming out now, while Filthy desperately pumps more Vikings out. He's got his 4th Viking coming online. Now Filthy's taking it to him, looking like he was aggressive. No, caught off guard. Maybe he didn't realize that he was being camped right there and contained. This Stalker is going to be a free kill. The second Stalker might even be a free kill with those concussive shells. But now 2 Colossi online. If he can protect these Colossi, he should be able to bust into the base. The barracks being salvaged. Interesting choice there from Filthy, who's just going completely on the aggression. Filthy, being the super aggressive player and super creative, he doesn't like to be contained from the matches that we've seen. Pulling a scan off there, trying to get a nice angle on these Colossi, taking the shields down on one and going to work on the other, who is already a bit damaged. So I like this play from Filthy, even though he's contained and there's this massive build-up of units. Just by being a little bit aggressive with his Viking fleet here, he's able to get these Colossi out of position, and it's delaying Az's attack. I think Filthy's, with all these Vikings, is playing himself into a much stronger position here, because if these Colossi go down, this attack is just going to be on the ropes.
The problem that Filthy has right now, though, even though he's very strong with these Vikings, basically scattering around the field, he doesn't have his expansion up. So the longer this goes on, Az has his expansion up. So he's almost being mined out of his main base here. So something has to happen very quickly for Filthy before the time will actually take care of it. So I like his positioning for Filthy, and very inventive, but he needs to make something happen before it's too late, because he doesn't have that much time left.
Yeah, we are seeing that Thermal Lance come online now, so these Colossi do have the range upgrade. These Vikings desperately trying to get the Proxy Pylon down, and Az is trying to get these Destructible Rocks, but it's going to be too little too late. Now he's lost that proxy advantage, but by the same token, he does have the range on the Colossi, so he can think about busting in a lot of Vikings here now. We are seeing the push coming in while Az continues to force field that ramp to control the positioning of Filthy's forces, but this huge fleet of Vikings willing to just take the hits now as they work on one Colossi going down. Az deciding to commit to the attack, the second Colossi going down to one Colossi, and 4 Vikings still on their feet. Looks like they might snipe this last Colossi, and the Colossi goes down, all the Vikings gone down, but now it's just a mix of gateway units, and Filthy recognizes this, moves out with his Marine Marauder Ball, and he really needs to play himself back into an expansion here. But as thinking about committing that little bit of a poor decision, he should have committed to it if he was going to make that turnaround, but no. A nice snipe there for the Marine Marauder Ball. Nice use of stim as they chase these units. Concussive shells going off on the Zealot. Another snipe there. But now a Colossi joining the forces, so now it's Filthy's turn to be on the retreat. So these gateway units desperately trying to make their way across the map. Another Marine Marauder being fried there. A few crispy corpses on the way. If you'd think that he, with his fast tech to Ghost, that he might even think about mixing up a Ghost or two in this to try and get EMPs off and take these shields down. But so far, Filthy just seems to be on the defensive now because this caught out of position with this force field, this Marine Marauder Ball being fried, almost completely taken out here. Filthy doesn't have many forces left. This is a terrible situation for Filthy. Looks like Az is in a commanding position, and Filthy calls GG. Absolutely surprising game. I can't believe some of the crazy shenanigans that went off in that game, but it was just so... shouldn't be surprised with Filthy. He always manages to come off with off-the-dial strategies and seems to make them work somehow. So, really impressive game, and Az takes game 1.
Yeah, great play by Az. JT, any thoughts?
No, at the moment, Filthy just had to push out, and I just don't think he quite had the units to do it, but it was a very close game.
And that's a wrap, guys. We'll go to game 2.